Now listen to me, Caesar. There can be only one talking chimpanzee on Earth. The child of the two talking apes.
20 years back. From the year, Senor Armando, when the two talking apes arrived on Earth.
And we believe that the male and female talking apes have come to us out of the future.
A month before the talking apes arrived on Earth.
From now on, you have but one assignment: to find that talking ape.
He's a performing ape for my circus.
A talking ape?
That idiot!
This chimpanzee...
Get out of retraction immediately. Announce that the talking ape has been apprehended and put to death.
Incredible! The talking apes!
Hey, ape fans, and a happy 50th anniversary to Galen, Pete, Alan, General Urko, Counselor Zaius, Lieutenant Jason, Garcia, Prefect Barlo, Arno, and let's not forget Jones, the astronaut who did not survive. I am Richard Woloski, and I want to welcome you back to Talking Apes. This is your Planet of the Apes podcast, where we are coming up on our 10th anniversary, and we started breaking down the live action and animated series. Then we moved on to reviewing the new films, revisiting the classic Marvel comics. We've talked to authors, actors, and the fan community. So now, everyone, please welcome back. Here he is, Mr. Kevin Toft. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Richard. Ready to go ape?
We are ready to go ape as always, and we've been looking forward to this episode where we get to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the TV series. Now, you've been gone for the last couple of episodes. What you been up to?
I think part of it, I had COVID because I got bored. That was fun. And also, I've been working at the Pageant of the Masters in Laguna Beach. So my nights have been a little full of making stage magic.
Oh, the Pageant of the Masters, for those who don't know what that is, what is this?
This is a live show in an amphitheater with, of course, a live orchestra, live narration, and living paintings. I'll pick something easy everybody knows. We've all seen Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. Well, we take that and we put real people in it, and then we light it so that it's flat, and you're like, big deal, just a big giant mural. No, those are real people in there, and we do this show all of July, all of August, with all different kinds of artwork, all different themes each year.
To see these paintings come alive is just, it's magic. It is magic. And to know that you're behind the scenes pulling ropes and sandbags and making it all come to life is great. But now, how have you been celebrating your Planet of the Apes fandom this summer?
Well, in between all of that, whilst I'm flipping around the fabulous TV channels, I have been coming across Rise, Dawn, and War. And I'm like, oh, I'll just settle into this and enjoy. How about you?
Well, me, I've been rewatching the Planet of the Apes TV series, and wow, even 50 years later, this show still holds up. And I can't say many shows from the 1970s that do.
Exactly that thought that you just had is going through someone's head, and they're making new movies.
Right. It's that and the commentary that it was doing for social justice back in that day. Mm-hmm. Well, it still holds up, fortunately and unfortunately today. Those same issues are rearing its ugly head. Yep. But you know what? We're gonna stay positive. And speaking of positivity, once again, here he is joining us, our Talking Apes Facebook group moderator. Here he is, everyone. Please rise for Mr. Patrick Izzo.
Hey, Richard and Kevin, how are you guys?
Together, ape strong.
Yes. Hey, good to have you back. This time we're not going to be reviewing the Planet of the Apes Marvel comic, where last time you were here, we were going through the adaptation of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, but we're going to take a little bit of a break from that because we got some celebrating to do.
Yes, we do. We got a lot to celebrate. What is the golden anniversary of the TV series?
Yeah. Now, before we dive into the series, tell us how you've been celebrating your Planet of the Apes fandom.
Well, I brought show and tell, so as you have been, I've been doing a rewatch of the series. So I have not gone through the whole thing yet. Time is very limited. but I've just been trying to go back through it again. I completely agree with what you guys said. It totally still holds up 50 years later. It's still a good show. A lot of the themes, they're still present in today's world, unfortunately for some of them.
Yeah.
But no, it really resonates. I mean, I think it holds up great. They're still fun to watch. We need more TV like this today.
Do you know what holds up the best in the TV series? The makeup.
Yes.
That makeup I just love. Now you guys have kids, so have they watched this series? And I'm very eager to see if they would watch it, or if they would think that it's too dated. For us, it's just too nostalgic and we love it. But how would the kids of today react to this series?
I tried to get my son to watch it yesterday. As I was watching, he walked through the room and it was like, "What is this?" And I told him, "Why go? You want to watch one with me?" And he didn't even stop. He just kept on walking and said, "Nope."
All right, is your son there? Bring him on. Bring him on.
He's right in the next room. I could get him.
No, you know what? I got way too many questions for him. So maybe, you know what? This is an idea for a later episode. Have him watch an episode or two, tie him down, tell him there is a gift certificate to Circuit City and Blockbuster in it.
And then we interview them. That's a great idea.
Yes.
All right. And Kevin, your son too.
Yeah. Is it anime? No? Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, maybe. I do want to do this experiment.
We can do it. I'm more than happy to participate in this.
I tried to make him watch Star Trek The Motion Picture they just re-released, and he got a third of the way through it and bailed out.
Yeah, he got further than I did.
Yeah.
I love Star Trek. My son hates the motion picture, so anytime it's on, I take a picture with my phone and I text it to him. I'm like, "Motion picture's on."
Well, it's that whole 30-minute revolve around the Enterprise,
Mm-hmm.
that little shuttle that revolves around it. It's like, yeah, we know what it looks like. Let's move on.
Well, David C. Fine fixed it. That's the one. That's the version I was trying to show him. The repaired latest version that they came out with. So,
all right, now let's talk about Planet of the Apes on this Planet of the Apes podcast.
Oops.
All right, now let's continue with this ApeTastic celebration of the 50th anniversary of the TV series. But for anyone who needs a refresher on the Planet of the Apes TV series, it premiered on CBS on Friday, September the 13th, 1974. Now, this was on from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., maybe a little too late for the kid audience out there, but hey, you know what? I know I was up to watch this, and it ran to December the 6th or the 20th of December. Now, different sources say different air dates, and the TV guide, I remember saying December 6th, so that's the one I tend to go with, but a lot of sources will say the 20th. So 3 months later, apes had come and gone. So now, who remembers sitting in front of their Zenith TV on an avocado beanbag watching the series? Or did anyone watch it in rerun? Now, this is not a picture of me that we're showing right here. This is just a stock picture I found of a little kid sitting 10 inches away from his Zenith.
Well, considering I was born 4 days after the Good Seeds premiered, I clearly watched it in reruns. This was actually my introduction to the franchise. And when I saw it, it was like 1981. And it's when they would make the TV movies and they would take 2 episodes and glue them together, like Treachery and Greed on the Planet of the Apes. And for a number of years, that's what I thought Planet of the Apes was until I actually found the movies. So they would rerun them like every summer. So every summer I would watch these in rerun, and that's how I got into this, and that's actually how I found the podcast, because I was looking for people who were talking about this, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, is this a fever dream? Am I the only person who remembers this TV series? Because nobody Planet of the Apes wise seemed to be talking about it, and that's how I found the podcast.
Wow, I know these TV movies are now hitting big on YouTube, because I see a lot of posts about, hey, did we see this new Planet Return to the Planet of the Apes or Revenge of the Planet of the Apes, where they stuck 2 or 3 episodes together. So if anyone hasn't seen them, you can now go watch them on YouTube, which they're very disjointed, because they don't really end. They'll just have Alan, Galen, and Pete walking through the desert, and the next cut they're walking through Ape City, without any kind of fade or dissolve or any kind of indication. So, Kevin, when did you watch the TV series?
Bits and pieces over the years. Much like the child in this photograph, we had just one television, and my dad was in command of it. So it would have to be very specific reruns dates that it would, you know what I mean? If it was out here on the West Coast, and I would only get like maybe 1 episode, you know what I mean, if I got lucky. But then when they started rerunning it, I caught a few of them here and there, but I didn't even know. It never occurred to me to Google it, you know, and see, oh, I just watch it on there, you know, or anything like that. So I would just watch. I just pretty much relegated myself to the movies. It wasn't until I started getting on the podcast here that I go back, watch episodes really full, like taking in and going, oh, I see what they did here. You know, that you can, oh, okay. But yeah, so it was difficult when you're a 1 TV household. We had 1 car, we had 1 TV. So whatever was going on in our house, you had to, you know, you had to schedule it or get it.
Wait a minute, was your dad watching Chico and the Man and Sanford and Son?
Absolutely.
Oh, no.
Yes.
He was part of the problem then.
Yeah, he got us canceled.
Yes.
Thanks, Mr. Toft.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I remember watching it just like this kid in this picture that we're showing here.
That
so
close?
if you're not watching this on YouTube, watch us on YouTube. You'll see all these really fun photos. Now, I think the TV I watched it was much smaller. This is like what, like a 20-inch that we're looking at, a 19-inch. I think I was watching it on a 13-inch black and white, and I still enjoyed the heck out of every single episode.
That implies you might have had more than 1 television in your house, Richard.
Oh, no, it was at my grandmother's house.
Oh, okay.
So my mother would drive me to my grandmother's house, and she let me watch Planet of the Apes while my mother was watching, I don't know, but I'm sure it wasn't Chico and the Man and Sanford and Son.
Mm-hmm.
I think she just wanted me out of her hair on Friday nights. But I went from watching the Planet of the Apes TV series to the movies, whereas the shows were much more faster paced, and the humans were talking, and we got a whole lot more out of the episodes, and there was a whole lot more ape action. Then I tried watching the movie. It's like, okay, when do we see an ape? All right, we're like 20 minutes in. When do we see an ape? And it was just way too much talking. So it's like, okay, I want to watch the TV series again. So the TV series really spoiled me. It wasn't until and I would still watch them on the Sunday afternoon movies, but they just didn't grab me like the TV series. And
that's why I'm glad I found the TV series first at my age, because I was maybe, 6, something like that, and it grabbed me right away and got me interested enough that when I found out there were movies, I'm like, oh, I have to watch those.
Yeah, but the TV series was my Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I felt like the movies were the Planet of the Apes for the adults, but these were for the kids, because they made the toys, the Mego toys, and the Topps trading cards, all based on the TV series. I know that there were some Topps cards and some toys made from the film, but a good 99% chunk of merchandise was based on the TV series, because that's what the kids were watching. There were 14 broadcasted episodes, 4 unfilmed scripts, and 4 outlines that we have reviewed here on Talking Apes, and we even did a full cast reading for A Fallen God, which was a highlight in Talking Apes history. Now, the series featured Roddy McDowell as Galen, Ron Harper as Alan Verdon, James Naughton as Pete Burke, Booth Colman as Counselor Zaius, and Mark Leonard as General Erko. While Alan and Galen had fleshed out backstories that were incorporated in several episodes that included details like marriages and children and parents and prior missions. We even got Alan's blood type on the episode The Surgeon. There was a couple of stuff we got for Pete, such as He was born in Jersey City. He had 2 sisters and a dog, but he preferred to have 1 sister and 2 dogs, and he attended Public School 103. He later met and became friends with another trainee astronaut, Verena, dated a girl called Susan, learned the Japanese art of kendo and knife fighting, and became proficient in just about every field of engineering, medicine, and technology. And there you go. There's all of Pete's backstory right there. In the unfilmed scripts, he was called Stan Kovac. So maybe Pete Burke is his is an alias? So there's a story detail right there.
His astronaut name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a stage name.
Yeah, exactly. So why couldn't we incorporate that somehow? Now, when we played Planet of the Apes as kids, which characters were you guys? Patrick?
I was Alan, because Alan was like the smart guy, the cool leader and everything, and he always seemed to kind of have the answers to the problems and everything. So I just always thought that Alan was cool.
I would play Alan a lot too, only because the blonde hair connection.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was Galen, because I like the way Galen walked with his hands folded on right below his chest, and he would run like that. I don't know why, but he would run like that, and I would do that on the schoolyards, and my teachers would get so mad at me. Rich, why are you running like that? Stop it! You look stupid. It's like a teacher said that to me. A teacher. But the more they said, it's like, well, I can listen to you, or I can run like Galen. So. Look out, Mrs. Patterson. I'm running like Galen.
It was the 70s. It was a different time.
If by stupid you mean Simeon, then yes.
So I was either Alan, I was Galen, or I was Urko, because I love me some Urko. And Urko got stuff done. So, Kevin, who were you?
Well, this goes back to my first Mego purchase, and that would be the Ape General. I can't remember if the Mego was it Ursus they released, or what was the first one they released? Was it Urko or Ursus that was the first Mego release?
Ursus.
Okay, so that's when I remember getting that in the store. I remember liking the gorillas as a kid because they had the rifles, and I thought they looked cool in the leather. I liked the hat. I liked the rifles, and I think it was the same time that I got that as I got the cup and bowl set. Right, that you can see online if you go on eBay.
I got my cup right and bowl right over there.
Right. And I remember as a kid, so that for me it was all about the apes at the time. I've grown into Zaius now as an adult. I found that if I could go back in time, I think I would take Dr. Zaius as my character, because none of the kids that I played with picked Zaius. Nobody. So I would have been that one kid going, "No, listen here, everybody gather around."
No one wanted to be the stodgy counselor?
Well, now that I understand him better, I think I could have run that whole game better as Zaius versus us just run. I've got the rifle. Run! That kind of stuff.
That's funny. Yeah, and once again, it was the Mego. It was the TV series and the Migos that really inspired my Planet of the Apes fandom and playability. Because if I couldn't find enough friends to play Planet of the Apes, I'd say, "Look, I've got toys. I got toys. Let's play with my toys." And kids would come out of the woodwork just to play with these Mego figures.
Case in point, and I know this is going to send us back to an earlier part of our conversation. But so my first Mego was the Planet of the Apes ones. I think I also had one of the chimps. I think I had, I don't know. I had a couple of them, but my friend had that Star Trek Mego playset, and he had all the Star Trek characters. So when I would go over and play at his house, I would show up with the apes. And he had all the Star Trek ones. Boy, did we have some adventures, let me tell you.
And decades later,
Yes.
maybe was your friend in charge of Boom Comics when they combined Planet of the Apes and Star Trek? It's like, hey, my friend Kevin and I used to play this when we were kids.
I don't think Greg was into that, but clearly as kids we were on to something, right?
Yeah. But I can tell you, I did have that Star Trek playset.
Oh, you had it too?
I had my Star Trek Migos too.
Have you told Sarah? Because I think she'd find this fascinating.
Well, they're my toys. She keeps wanting to play with my toys and touch my vintage stuff. Like, no, this is mine.
Oh my gosh.
All right, now let's go over the timeline. because a lot of fans will argue about this timeline and where does this series fit in with the whole Planet of the Apes universe. Now, Alan, Pete, and Jones, they leave Earth on August the 19th, 1980. Just a week ago. August 19th. And Pete and Alan arrive on June the 14th in the year 3085. Now, the 1968 film is set at the year 3978. Now, do you think it's a different timeline, or is it the same timeline, only 900 years before Taylor?
I always thought it was a different timeline for the fact that you have Dr. Zaius in it, and I think clearly they hired Booth Colman to do that role because he was as close as you were going to get to who played him? I can't remember who played him.
Maurice Evans.
Maurice Evans. He like kind of like the same kind of actor. And instead of being on the East Coast, now they're on the West Coast. So I always looked at it like it's got to be the same idea, but you just put it in a different universe.
But he got downgraded the counselor from doctor. So yeah, it's got to be another universe.
Well, maybe Zaius is a very common name with orangutans.
Especially one that are counselors and doctors.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe they're two different characters. But now in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Dr. Haslan explains timelines.
Well, then maybe the explanation needs some explaining. Now, you've written several learned dissertations on the nature of time. Could you explain in terms that our viewers at home will understand how, for instance, a person or persons could travel from time past to time future, or indeed vice versa?
Time is like a freeway with an infinite number of lanes, all leading from the past into the future, however, not into the same future.
So even back before Marvel, Planet of the Apes was all over multiverses.
Or, as we've learned from Kingdom, we call them all Zaius.
See, right there, their point being that maybe Zaius is a very common orangutan name. So yeah, I do believe that they were onto something with timelines. That's the only way to explain plots like this. Now, have you ever noticed in the 1968 film, Taylor refers to Dr. Haslan's theory of time?
Oh.
In less than an hour, we'll finish our 6th month out of Cape Kennedy. 6 months in deep space. By our time, that is. According to Dr. Hasline's theory of time in a vehicle traveling nearly the speed of light, the Earth has aged nearly 700 years since we left it.
So apparently in every timeline, there is someone named Haslan who is an expert on timelines. Just like the Zaiuses can cross into different multiverses, maybe this Haslan character is someone that really needs to be explored. Maybe he is the lawgiver. Maybe he's a whole different kind of lawgiver that really works in multiverses. But maybe there's two lawgivers. Zaius is not going to be too thrilled with something like this. So maybe he took that statue of Haslan and buried it somewhere in the Forbidden Zone. All right, now I'm sure we all have favorite episodes. So, Kevin, what is your favorite episode from the TV series?
It's based on the 68 movie. So it's, as much as that beginning bored you, as much as it intrigued me. I'm opposite. So for me, I always like to see the genesis. For me, that crash landing, the first episode, how they got there, what went through their heads, that coming to grips with they're on a planet of apes. In the series, the original movie, those have always been my favorite parts, is that discovery moment. So I would have to go with that. Not that there are other episodes I enjoyed, but when I think of it, what do I love about Planet of the Apes? It's that whole moment of, my God, we're in an upside down world.
So you'll go with Escape from Tomorrow.
Yep. The whole first episode of them coming to grips with it. It was just like the movie, right? But how they did it, I thought it was interesting. They're coming to grips with it. compared to the original 68 film and how they came to that. So to me, that's always entertaining. That's always going to win.
Okay. All right. Patrick.
For me, it's always the trap. I love the trap. You get to see like a ruined city, so you get to start to see familiar things. You get to see buildings. You get to see the subway and the BART system and all of those things. And part of it, what really kind of grabbed me with the show was, honestly, Urko scared me as a kid. And in that beginning part, when that little girl finds those, like the wires and everything, and he grabs that kid and starts like interrogating that kid. And I was not much younger than her. And I was like, Urko give me nightmares. So for as great as Mark Lenard played that role, like, I think that was the first time you really saw him like lose it. And I remember that just get me as a kid, but it was a combination of all of those things, being able to kind of see like, hey, you crashed on Earth and you realize it's Earth, and boom, we're in a city and here it is and it's ruined and this is kind of what's left. So it's kind of all of those things kind of combined. When I think of the TV series, The Trap is always the first episode I think of.
All right,
Good
so
one.
you took mine.
Oh, sorry.
You know what? I had two, because I knew that one of you two were gonna take The Trap, because that is like an all-time fan favorite. I wrote down a 1 and a 2, a backup, and I would say The Legacy. Behind The Trap, I would say The Legacy.
Yeah.
I love how they still followed the thread of the computer disk that was salvaged from from Pete and Alan's ship. They had the one thing that they salvaged was the computer disk.
Yes.
This is a thing that's going to bring us back home.
That's the thing that disappoints me most, is that they dropped that. And it's like, if you treated this series like The Fugitive, and every week we're trying to find something that can read that disc and get them home, I think that just would have really made for an intriguing plot line. And I don't know why they dropped it.
Yeah, I don't know either, because that should have been the thread for the whole series from beginning to end. Even if it had gone through a couple of different seasons, that could have been the one thread that brought them from A to B. And that was the last time we'd ever seen that disc, which is too bad. And I also love the contrast between the apes who lived in huts and had wooden rifles to the apes being contrasted with these high-tech computers. The whole episode is how they're reacting to these things that they don't understand. So what does Urko do? Destroys them.
Yeah.
Something he doesn't understand, you know what? Let's burn it.
And part of the reason I like The Legacy is the same thing. It's because, like The Trap, you get to see like the old ruined city and, where they came from and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, now let's move on to favorite guest star. And let's, Kevin, you want to go first?
Does Bobby Porter count?
Dang it!
Cheating.
I knew I should have gone first.
That's why I wanted to go first, because that was my favorite. But hey, can we give props to Mark Lenard, though?
There he is.
I mean, he was a star of it, but Mark Lenard's performance was outstanding.
Yeah, but he's not really a guest star.
I know, but I wanted to say it.
Okay. Well, you know what? And I'm going to jump on this one over here, because I'm afraid Patrick is going to repeat that same thing. I'm going to go with Bobby Porter, who appeared in the first episode as Arno. He's the one that discovers Pete and Alan and Jones in this ship. But then here he is as Remus, the little chimpanzee who thinks he knows better than Pete and Alan. And right here, Bobby's 22 years old. Look at him there. All right, now, Patrick, who is your favorite?
All right, back to show and tell. Mark Singer, who signed my DVDs for me.
Wow, he was in the Gladiator episode, The Gladiators.
And I saw him at a Comic-Con, and I knew before I went, I'm like, everybody's going to bring Beastmaster, and everybody's going to bring V, but I'm going to bring my Planet of the Apes DVDs. And I put them in front of him, and he just looked at me and went, I remember this. I was on this show. And he and I just started conversing, and he was just so excited to talk about something that was not Beastmaster. And he reaches under the desk, and he gets his briefcase, and he gets out a notepad, and he goes, where do you buy these? Because as soon as this is over, I'm going to go buy them. And I'm like, I think I just got them at Best. And he's writing down Best Buy and he taking notes. And he just was so, he's like, you want to take a picture? And he was just so thrilled. And I was like, it was a really cool experience because it was just like Beastmaster V, Beastmaster V, Beastmaster V. I'm like, hey, how about Planet of the Apes? And he was like, whoa.
Oh, we got to get him on the show. If he's that excited about Planet of the Apes, we got to get him on the show.
Yeah, because it took him a second. He looked at it and all of a sudden he went, wait, I was on that show.
yeah. He kind of played a Beastmaster type of character there, too. All oiled up in a little loincloth.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of Beastmaster.
Dalton.
Foreshadowing.
Right. All right, now let's move on to favorite character. So other than the principals, other than Pete, Alan, Galen, Urko, and Zaius.
Oh.
Who would you say is your favorite character? So Patrick, do you want to take lead on this one?
I can't pick Urko?
No.
Okay.
Favorite supporting. Supporting character. I think, you know what? After this, we'll go to the favorite character.
I think Polar from the horse race because it's Barlo, so I apologize for that.
Oh, Prefect Barlo.
Because he was such a good guy with the humans. And at the very end of the episode, he said, you can come live with me. You know, you can ride the horse just as long as I don't see it. And he was just so benevolent to like the humans because the humans were just constantly getting such a bad rap from the apes all through the series that he was like the one guy that was like really was nice and he was cool with them.
All right. Good choice. All right. Kevin.
Morgan Woodward, Martin from the horse race.
I know who he is because he was in an episode of Star Trek. And that's actually why I like that episode because there's like 3 or 4 people that were in past Star Trek episodes.
I recognize him from that too.
John Hoyt's in it, and he was the original Doctor from the original pilot. Morgan Woodward was in it. Yep. He played one of the Starship commanders in one episode. Yep. Mark Leonard's in it.
I'm gonna go with Urko's lieutenant Zako from The Trap.
Ooh.
And I really like this character, although Urko commanded that Galen, Alan, and Pete be executed by Zako and his men. Zako said, I don't believe in this. It's against our policy to kill humans, to kill prisoners. And Urko was like, no, you got to kill them. These 3 are the bane of my existence. We got to get rid of them. I know they just saved my life, but I got a 1-track, laser-focused mind, and I want you to kill them. And the Zako told his men to go bring Urko, who was badly hurt. Go bring him back to their village. And when they were around the corner, Zako fired 3 shots in the air and let the fugitives go. And I thought that was such a huge moment for guerrillas because we had never seen them so compassionate as that one moment there. And doing my rewatch, he's the only character, the only guerrilla character to really think outside the box. And I really, that one performance, that one character really stuck out to me because he was going against Urko, letting humans live, letting these fugitives live, even because he just didn't believe in killing prisoners. And that should be commended. So
I always wondered what happened to him.
Because we never saw him again.
He let those 3 shots off as though he killed them, but in the next episode, they know that they're still fugitives. So, what happened to him?
Well,
nothing good.
I think we all know.
Yeah,
he left the military and moved to the coast and opened a banana daiquiri stand.
Kevin, don't you know that apes loathe bananas?
Not according to Paul. When he was on the Tonight Show.
This is 7 months of nothing but banana daiquiris.
Well, that's a whole that's a Tonight Show multi-universe timeline.
That's a multiverse thing, but
yes.
Come on.
Whole other lane of time.
You know what? You really wanted to tell us your favorite character then. You were really disappointed when I was going to gloss over this. So let's talk about favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Kevin, who is your favorite character?
Oh, Dr. Z. Dr. Z, no matter what, even though it wasn't Maurice Evans, still Dr. Z.
Patrick.
Urko, because he scared the heck out of me as a kid. I mean, and the funny thing is, being like as big a Star Trek fan as I am, that when I later found out that, he was a Vulcan and Spock's father, and how calm and cool he was, and he played those two polar opposites so well, and to see him go from, playing a Vulcan and just everything is just, low key, to being able to play Urko, and in a second just be able to flip out and lose it like that. I mean, as like a little kid watching, it's like I just remember having nightmares about Urko, so he would definitely be my fave.
All right, I'm gonna echo that. Urko.
All right.
Gotta be Urko. Just love that character. And I think I told this story once on Talking Apes, where I saw him at a convention, at a creation convention, 1984, I want to say. And I was like 3 feet away from him, and my friend said, "Hey, that's the guy. That's Mark Leonard. That's Mark Leonard." And who's that? He said, "That's Spock's father." It's like, oh, okay. And I walked away. Oh, and he knew I was a Planet of the Apes fan. I don't know if he didn't know he played Urko, but I remember Mark Leonard looking at me when my friend said, that's Spock's father, expecting me to go, "Oh my goodness, that's Spock's father." But I just walked away. It's like, what was he thinking? It's like, oh, this guy doesn't deserve a Planet of the Apes podcast.
Opportunity lost.
It was lost, and that's one of the moments of my life I regret. It was right there. And I'm sure on the table he had pictures of himself as Spock's father, and I'm sure there was a picture there of Urko. I just
probably buried under the if you said creation, this was a Star Trek, so why would he bring his Urko stuff, right?
Oh, it's science fiction. It spans all franchises. So
in a perfect world, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to think about that anymore. That's disturbing me.
But again, is it Urko or Urko, as Alan seems to sometimes be saying? And I watched a couple episodes last night, and I still think that's what he's saying.
You know what? If we had a chance to have Ron Harper on, I can say, "Ron, remember that time I met you at Dark Delicacies and I got your autograph? The first question I asked you was, is it Urko or Orko?" And he said he mouthed it, Urko. He showed me that how his lips were forming this word Urko. And I would say, because sometimes you would say Orko. He said, no, it's Urko. So I got it from Ron Harper himself.
I don't know. We need to see a script, because I think it started out as Urko and someone changed it.
Asked and answered.
All right, so earlier we were talking about Maurice Evans and Booth Colman. So who was the better Dr. Zaius? Kevin?
You mean aside from me? Let me see.
So for those who don't know, Maurice Evans was the Zaius in the films, and Booth Colman was Counselor Zaius in the TV series.
I think Booth did an excellent job, but Maurice was, for me, the OG.
Yeah.
So I have to go with Maurice.
Okay. Patrick?
I agree. I go with Maurice, and I said it earlier. I think that they hired Booth Colman because he's a similar actor. He's got a similar way he speaks, and I think that they wanted to throw him in there because if you weren't super familiar with the movies, you might not know it's somebody different. But just, like Kevin said, he was the original guy, so I have to go with Maurice.
Yeah, I don't think as a kid I knew one from the other, and that's just the way they wanted it. Yeah. Now, they didn't really give us much about Zaius in the TV series, whereas we knew a lot about what made Zaius tick in the films, which was fear. Yes. That was his motivating tick in his personality.
Specifically,
is fear.
Heretics, Richard.
Yeah. Exactly. Fear that the knowledge would get out that humans were here first, and they had dolls that said mama. So it was his lifelong mission to make sure that that didn't get out, that humans were on the planet before the apes. Now the Zaius in the TV series was more of a rival to Urko. Whenever Urko would like, I got a great resolution to this. We'll kill him. That was his resolution to everything. Burn it or we'll kill him. It's like, no, we want to study this. Study why? We'll kill him. We'll move on with our day. So that was, I got that more from the rewatch. Like, these two are really just butting heads the whole time.
What if we killed them and let's see what happens next.
Yeah. Well, if we kill him, Erko, the TV series will end. Oops.
And you know what's interesting is, and this was a throwaway line too, which I wish they kind of explored a little bit more, is Booth Colman says, and I think it's in the first episode, says to Urko that they're not the first astronauts to land there.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my!
And that would have been really cool to explore a little bit of that somewhere in those episodes. Well, I always wondered when he said, like, well, who's that about? And when I was younger, I'm like, does he mean Taylor? And I'm like, well, no, that happened later, so it can't be him. So who's he referring to, and what happened to those? I think we know what happened to those people, but
yeah, I think that was their tie-in to the films. We had Galen, who looked like Cornelius and Caesar, and we had the Zaius character, but I think that was that one tie into the film about the previous astronaut. But I think the timeline theory plays more into a good construct of the Planet of the Apes universe, because it's the only way things will make sense if there's different timelines.
Yeah,
I knew this dude named Bright Eyes.
All right, now that we're picking favorites, who was the best ape army general? Was it Erko, Ursus, or Aldo?
Ooh.
You know what? I'm gonna go first on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first, and of course I'm gonna say Erko for the win. Now, he didn't kill a child or was the catalyst to the destruction of the world like the other two. A lot of comedy from this series came out of the fact that Erko was just so clueless. He actually thought that cold water was best for brainwashing.
Right.
And
that's how you get the stains out, Richard.
Exactly. And I love the scenes with Urko and Pete. And Pete was just getting the best of him. And Urko was just clueless to what was going on. So I'm going to say Urko for the win for me. So, Kevin.
You know, you made a good point there. Ursus, though, kind of OG. But, my God, throwing a kid out of a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, your bad guy's got to do something really bad, right?
Yeah, but killing a child, killing a chimp, killing Bobby Porter.
I know. So it's like, how bad do you want your bad guy to be, right? That's kind of where I'm at with this. I think the other two guys were just sort of military stooges, but man, I think I'll go with Ursus,
the planet destructor.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I had to choose how bad I wanted my bad guy to be, and that's the one I picked.
You can kill a child, or you can destroy the world.
Right. Both bad.
Patrick, what do you say?
So, out of the three, just my favorite character is Urko, but I'm going to catch you on a technicality, though, Richard. Urko is chief of security. He wasn't a general.
Oh.
Right?
Didn't the toys call him general? I think they called him general quite a few times in the show.
I don't know. He was. I remember him being referred to as the chief of security.
Maybe he was the general of the chief of security.
But regardless, if you put them all at the same rank and whatnot, like, again, Urko is definitely my favorite. But if you look at, I think, who the best leader would be, again, Aldo killed a kid. I can't go with him. Urko definitely is clueless, and you stole my thunder with the wash in the brain, because that's what I was going to bring up. I think out of all of them, Ursus probably is the best leader. I mean, he was marching them through the desert, and he was nothing was going to stop him. He moved the hippies out of the way. Remember the hippie chimps that were protesting? He got them out of the way. Nothing was stopping him.
Yeah. Okay. I was going more with character, but in terms of best leader, yeah, Ursus does win the best general prize there. Now, if we could develop our own episode, if Disney Plus said, hey, guys, we want to do an AI Planet of the Apes TV series, what would you want? So Patrick, let's start with you this time. What would your episode be about?
I want resolution to the series. So I wanted to show somehow, because going back to when I said I got into this through the TV series, and it was from the TV movies. Well, if you ever go to YouTube and you watch some of the bumpers, they have Old Man Galen talking about Pete and Alan, and he says at the end they did find their way home. And that's what I would like to see, is what's the resolution to this, because it was only one season, it got canceled, we don't really know what happened to them. And I'd love to see an AI episode that shows what did they find. Did they found the computer that read the disk, and then what? How did they figure out how to get back up into space and back home to their own time?
So that's more of an idea for a standalone episode, for like a TV film to wrap it all up, which still works. I'm thinking if they wanted to reboot the whole or continue the series, because we know that they can do that. Not that I'm for AI; it's got its pros and cons, but yeah, that's definitely something I would love to see as a TV film. So Kevin, either as a standalone or the start of a whole new series.
Well, so it's kind of twofold. One, I would want everything Patrick said plus the next astronauts arriving. And then the other one would be an insert episode where we have Counselor Zaius recalling running into those other astronauts that he briefly mentioned. Well, that'd be a good episode of his hijinks with the other.
Yeah.
Obviously not Bright Eyes, and certainly not
Brent
and Pete. So maybe, let's find out what that was.
Okay, earlier on I said I wanted to do something more with that Dr. Haslin character, and that he had the answer to all the multiverses, and Zaius hiding him somehow, and that could be like a good subplot. But I would also want to see an episode where they just pull out all the stops and do like a Spider-Verse Apes episode, where all the multiverses from all the films, the TV shows, the live action, and the animated, the Mego toys, everything, the books, the records, the power records, they all come together. Now, what the plot is about, I'm still working on that. I just want to see all these multiverses come together. What
you just opened up there, that means in that multiverse that there's a Zira that likes bananas.
I loathe bananas.
Somewhere there's going to be this banana craving Zira. I'm in. I think that's great.
I loathe bananas.
That is great. And I think in the book, Tales from the Forbidden Zone, because it's like an anthology of different stories, I think that's one of the stories.
Yes.
So if they could take that and do what you said, I would love to see that. That would be great.
That would be really awesome. That'd be really, really awesome. So once again, I know that AI is a big controversial subject, but I'm just saying, this is my what if.
So many possibilities.
Yes. All right, now I think it's time for a little quiz. The Planet of the Apes TV series quiz.
Oh my.
So I'm sure we've all studied for this. I'm going to show you a screenshot from the Planet of the Apes TV series, and you tell me what is wrong with this picture. All right, so just yell out your name to see who wins the round. All right, and here we go. What is wrong with this picture? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You know what? I need to zoom out on this one. Hold on.
Okay.
There you go. Say your name.
Patrick.
Patrick, what is wrong with this picture?
Should be a green lightsaber. I mean a rifle. Sorry.
It means that should be the rifle. So now you know how this game is played.
Okay.
It was interesting because before you zoomed out, I was really studying to go, and I don't see anything wrong with it.
All right, next slide. Here we go. What is wrong with this picture? Remember, to win the round, you got to say your name quickly.
Patrick.
All right, Patrick, what is wrong with this picture?
Geez, I don't know. This is going to be a tough one. I don't know how Heston got in there.
So we have Galen, we have Pete, and we have Taylor, which should be Alan.
Yes.
All right. Okay. This is going to be a tough one. Here we go. So far, Patrick is in the lead by 2. Here we go. Kevin, what is wrong with this picture?
The helmet is flying off the head.
There's Urko on a horse, and as I've questioned many times before, how does he ride a horse and have that helmet stay on his head? This time around, it's flying off his head when it should look like this.
There we go. It could create suction. You don't know.
All right, let's do one more of these. Okay, ready? Here we go. This the picture
Patrick?
from the Legacy. Patrick, what's up with this picture?
That should be a Windows unit and not an Apple product.
Right.
Here we are, picture of the Legacy. You have Galen, Pete, and Alan, and there's a big computer in the background with an Apple logo in the middle. But in the original picture, there was no logo.
Oh, it should have been IBM. Should have been Deep Blue.
Now, the second part of the quiz is I am going to read the description of an episode, and you tell me what episode it is. Are you ready? All right. While exploring the ruins of Oakland, California, Verdon and Burke find a filmed message from scientists from an earlier time which may help them discover what happened to their civilization. What episode is it?
The Legacy.
The Legacy. And Patrick, you got this one here. I should keep a running tally here.
Oh, don't bother.
So Patrick, I think you got 4. And Kevin, you got 1.
Yeah, well.
All right. While Galen and Verdon hunt down a band of murderous ape dragoons, the blind ape's daughter of the dragoons' latest victim falls in love with Burke, unaware that he is human. What is it?
The miracle banana. No.
Is it the deception, the interrogation, or the surgeon?
I'll let Kevin guess. He gave you multiple choice. I mean, come on.
Kevin, is it the deception, the interrogation, or the surgeon? You know what? I'll give you one more hint.
The deception?
The deception is right. Ding, 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 ding. All right, next. Burke and Erko are forced to work together when they are buried alive underground in Old Bay Area Rapid Transit System subway station in San Francisco during an earthquake. What episode is this?
The Trap.
The Trap. You know what? I'm going to give it to you both.
No, I'm helping. I'm saying his name. He just has to answer.
There you go. He's my buzzer.
One more, then we'll move on. In exchange for a condemned human's freedom, Verdon agrees to race Prefect Barlo's horse against Urko's, who has never lost a race. What episode is this?
Could that be the horse race?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
It is the horse race.
That was also I kind of knew that from the actor.
All right, now, last part of the quiz, and this decides it all.
Oh, dear.
This is called Zaius Zingers. Now, I'm going to read a quote from an interview from any of the actors from the Planet of the Apes TV series, and you tell me who it is. All right. Okay, who said this? Personally, I think that eventually they managed to get back to their own time. Surely, I would make myself available for a project revisiting my character, unless it was directed by Tim Burton. Who said it? Was it Tim Burton? Was it Ron Harper? Or James Naughton?
I go with Harper.
That's what I would say.
Ron Harper? Ron Harper is correct. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, next. I wasn't dying to do that show, but I was living in LA and I had a $400 rent payment that was about 2 weeks overdue, which was a lot of money at the time. I had 2 children, I was in my 20s, and I had said no to this project 3 times. Finally, another week went by, and I said, I guess I better say yes.
Okay, we can eliminate Booth Colman right away, right off the top, and we can eliminate Mark Leonard right off the top, right?
Why do you say that?
20 years old?
Okay. All right. So, okay, good deduction there. Keep going.
James kind of looks youngish. He looks younger than Ron to me.
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm asking. Does Patrick,
No,
Patrick, do you know?
Honestly, it sounds more like Dana Gould as Dr. Z. If I have to pick someone, I don't know if that's an option, but it sounds more like something he would say.
I'm going to go James Naughton.
Guess what?
What?
It is James Naughton.
Ooh, see, look how young he is there.
One more. Okay, who said this? In any series, things evolve. They start with a good general premise, and then depending on what comes up, ideas change. And one of the things that they've done that I don't like is the humans beating up the gorillas, which is absurd.
Ooh.
Who
that
said
sounds
this?
so Roddy McDowell, doesn't it?
I would agree with that.
All right, I'm going to give you a multiple choice.
Oh.
Is it? Oh, do you want to say Roddy McDowell?
Patrick, don't you?
That was going to be my first guess before you said it. I thought it was Roddy McDowell.
Yeah, right on.
All right.
We challenge you.
You're both wrong.
We're both wrong? Oh.
Is it Mark Leonard, Booth Colman, Ron Harper, or James Naughton?
How could it not be right? I still say Roddy McDowell. No.
Okay, you can say that, but then the point will go to Patrick because I'm sure he's just figured it out. Okay, Patrick?
Go ahead.
Mark Leonard was one of the options?
Yes.
Why, yes, he was.
There it was.
I got to go with him then.
It was Mark Leonard. Okay, the clue was right there. And I don't like that humans are beating up the gorillas, which is absurd.
Roddy would have said that too.
I think it's safe to say that, Patrick, you won. You won the Planet of the Apes TV series Talking Apes Quiz 2024. Patrick, do you have a winner's acceptance speech?
Only, you know what? I'm going to let Kevin do it in the Dr. Zaius voice. So you can do my acceptance speech for me. Go ahead.
You're his proxy, Kevin.
All you heretics will learn to appreciate this show one way or another, even if Patrick has to win every contest from here to the end of time.
I could not have done that better.
That's exactly what Dr. Counselor Zaius would have said.
Dr. Counselor, what a downgrade. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to get mail from counselors out there going, we work just as hard as doctors. No.
You know what? When we do our AI series, we can retcon that, okay?
I'm just going to say maybe that's true for humans, but I think maybe in ape world that the doctor is a higher tier. But counselor just, in apes sounds like a downgrade. Humans, maybe they do work as hard. Maybe they work harder than doctors. I'll give you that. But all my stuff is based on apes and ape culture. There it is. There, I said it.
All right, good. As said by Kevin Toft, 2024. All right, now before we wrap up, we got to hear from the apes in our Facebook group and our Facebook page. We had put the question out, what memories do you have of watching Planet of the Apes, or just any kind of general Planet of the Ape TV series memory you may have? Did you play with the figures? Did you watch it every Friday night? Do you have a favorite character? So let's go over a few here. We got so many that we'll have to spread it out over a couple of episodes. Now, Anthony Mark has said, I had just watched all the movies on CBS in the spring of 1974. I got to watch each episode on a Friday night at 8 p.m. on CBS. It is one of the most fond memories of my childhood. It brought me so much joy. It is one of my most beloved TV series. Thank you to Mom for repairing my favorite soldier ape after the elastic snapped at the end of the Legacy episode. All right, Michael Torno said, after half a century, I still haven't fully recovered from its early cancellation.
Same here.
If we have anything to say about it, look for it on Disney Plus through AI.
Right next to the Acolyte.
Oh, Kevin. All right. Moving on. All right, Adam Hodgins, he says, the TV show is more fun than most of the shows that we get today. And all of the apes lore, I think Carcia is the best villain and the most underused character. Now, she was the character from Up Above a World So High. She would have made a great Season 2 villain and broke the mold of chimps in the apes world of being good-hearted at their core. Okay, good breakdown of Carcia. James William Logie, hope I'm saying that right, Logie, he says, the title sequence is fantastic, really sets up the show. We're all talking about being scared of Urko. Patrick, you're saying you were scared? That one low angle of that ape gorilla scared the Galen right out of me.
It did for me too. And then the music is great because it makes you feel like it gets your blood pressure going. And if you look, I mean, what are they doing? They're running for their lives.
I agree with it. That intro and $6 Million Man, probably my two favorite of that era that set the show up perfectly.
But I still remember that visceral feeling I got with that ape with his eyes shifting side to side, very slow shifting. I would run to my grandmother for just someone to hide behind because that scared me so much. All right, Paul Haber says a lot has been said over the astronauts knowing everything. They were both Boy Scouts and both in the military, so they would know basic medicine and survival training so they can make a cure for malaria, make a simple mask, or stop someone from bleeding. They would both have degrees in engineering or something similar so they could devise a fulcrum, making a battery or fix a hang glider. It's not as if they sent people who spend their lives on social media. Yes, they wouldn't send those people up into space.
No.
Yeah, but that's a good point, because when Mark Rogashewitz and I would review the series, like whenever something needed fixing, they needed a fulcrum, they needed a battery being to be fixed, these guys would know everything. But it makes sense if they're astronauts, they would have all these skills.
Right.
Now, Paul Haber says they were both Boy Scouts. I don't remember Pete ever being a Boy Scout. Maybe Alan was a Boy Scout, but I don't recall Pete ever being a Boy Scout.
Alan definitely comes off as a Boy Scout. Pete, I don't know.
No, yeah. Pete was the kind of guy who would go to the Boy Scout meetings, and then when his mother drove off, he would run over to like smoke behind the bleachers with his friends. That's the kind of Boy Scout I would think he would be.
Yeah. Just think, it's not luck there. Astronauts are smart. Gilligan's Island was luck that they had a professor that was also a expert bamboo carpenter. But, they didn't have to do that here. An astronaut, you would expect them to be well-rounded in technical stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. And it wasn't really until I read Paul's comment that's like, that does make a lot of sense. It wasn't just, hey, for plot convenience that we need to fix a hang glider. We need to fix a spaceship. We need to lose a computer disk. These guys would know how to do pretty much anything and everything. All right, so any more comments on the TV series before we wrap things up?
Just glad everybody still remembers it and watches it, and this was great conversation about it. Because again, this is what led me to the podcast, was just trying to find other people that were talking about this TV show.
I just have to go back to my original statement and all apes content. Apes together strong.
Apes together strong. Yes. I think this goes down in my history as being my first favorite TV series. I was 5 years old. Other than cartoons, this is the first must-see TV. That does it for this Planet of the Apes TV series 50th anniversary episode of Talking Apes. Kevin, it's good to have you back. And Patrick, thanks so much for taking care of the Talking Apes Facebook group. Doing a great job keeping the conversation going. And I also want to thank all the Ape listeners out there for watching the show on YouTube or listening to the show on their favorite podcatcher. And we also want to thank Rob Dellinger, who composed the theme to Talking Apes. Please check out Rob's band at alpharhythmkings.com to see his tour schedule. And once again, go see him in tour and just yell, Talking Apes. He'll love you for it. Now, is everyone ready for this next part? We are part of the Skywalking Network.
Skynet.
Where you can find other great shows like the Max Effects Podcast, the Neverland Clubhouse, Totally Tell Me Everything, Star Warsologies, and the flagship show, Skywalking Through Neverland. You can also catch our YouTube shows, Collectopolis and Today in Star Wars History. So, until next time, this is Richard.
And this is Kevin.
And this is Patrick.
Now. Go
Ape.